Preston, for your kind words. I can't tell you what an honor it is to be introduced by what I like to call him the godfather of Canadian conservatism. And like all godfathers, he's known for his wisdom, his strength, and of course his persuasiveness. So you have to be careful with Preston. The last time I sat down with someone like Preston, I ended up as interim leader. But when Preston arrived in Ottawa as a newly minted MP, the chickens were coming home to roost on the disastrous Liberal policies of the 70s and early 80s. Deficits were out of control, our credit rating had been slashed, things were so bad that finance officials used to thank God for Italy, because it meant Canada wasn't the worst off in the G7. Now, Ottawa politicians had become addicted to spending money, your money. Well, Preston changed that. Let there be no doubt that Preston Manning, with the help, of course, of a young policy wonk that you may have heard of named Stephen Harper, was the intellectual force that changed the channel on the perennial deficits instituted by the Liberals under Pierre Trudeau. The first thing you do in a hole, as he liked to say at the time, is stop digging. When Preston unveiled Reform's deficit reduction plan in the 1993 election campaign, the Liberals attacked it mercilessly. But in government, the Liberals saw the wisdom in what he was saying. Namely, if they continued along the same path trod by Trudeau, the death spiral of ever higher debt and taxes would only intensify. Wow, this all sounds awfully familiar. Instead, thanks to Preston's leadership, Canada entered a new era of balanced budgets. The economy began to grow and we made room to cut taxes so Canadians could keep more of their hard-earned money. Preston is not just a mentor of mine, he's a hero to all of us. And we can never thank him enough for his leadership, and we should never underestimate what he's done for our movement. So please join me in thanking him. Here's more, because of course helping to restore fiscal sanity to Ottawa isn't all that Preston did. He was also quick to see that when Canadian Conservatives focus on their differences, the only ones who win are the Liberals. Preston a donc commencé à défendre un parti conservateur fort et uni. Et oui, ça a peut-être pris plus de temps que nous le voulions. Mais notre sens de devoir envers notre pays a finalement surmonté les vieilles querelles. So Preston began making the case for a strong, united Conservative Party. Wow, this sounds awfully familiar also, Preston. And yes, it may have taken longer than we'd liked, but our sense of duty to our country eventually overcame our old quarrels. Thanks to Preston and Stephen and Peter and their leadership, we came to appreciate that the issues that divided us were so small compared to the fundamental issues that define us. Low taxes and prudent spending focused on the priorities of Canadians, a commitment to free enterprise and free trade, a justice system that puts the interests of law-abiding Canadians before criminals, and a strong, independent foreign policy that advances Canada's national interests while fulfilling its responsibility to be an agent of change in an increasingly troubled world. And this is all a good reminder now, while we're in the midst of our leadership race for the Conservative Party of Canada. 14 Canadiens doués, accomplis et passionnés briguent le poste le plus élevé du parti. Je crois que nous allons le voir pendant le débat plus tard aujourd'hui. Les idées et l'expérience des candidats témoignent du grand parti uni que nous avons bâti. So we have 14 talented, accomplished, and passionate Canadians that are vying for the top job. And I know we'll see that during the leadership debate later today. The candidates' backgrounds and ideas are a testament to the big blue tent that we've successfully built. Canada's Conservative Party is home for Canadians of all backgrounds, because our mission is rooted in those values that I just mentioned. As Preston counseled all of us those years ago, we're committed to moving forward together towards our common goals. So while the issues that the candidates emphasize may vary, and while some of their policy prescriptions may differ, the principles that underlie their leadership platforms are the same. The clear recognition that a government's role is to serve the people who pay the bills, not the well-heeled interests that talk the loudest. So regardless of who wins this spring, my friends, our party is going to be in very capable hands. Our new leader will continue to lead the charge against the Liberals' reckless policies here in Ottawa, holding the government to account, and proposing practical, results-oriented ideas. And with the support of our hardworking, incredible group of MPs and our staff, and our amazingly dedicated grassroots members, she or he is going to reach out to voters across this country, building trust and making the case for a Conservative government in 2019. Thankfully, the current government is making that job a little easier every day. My God, they're awful. They really are awful. Question period is so much fun these days. It really is. It's a lot of fun. But after promising in the last election, they promised Canadians that they had changed. After saying that they finally understood everyday working people and their families. After declaring that they were finally ready to put Canadians' interests before their own. It turns out they're the same old Liberals. Cynical, entitled, and out of touch. Le gouvernement avait promis de se retrousser les manches et de travailler pour les Canadiens. Au lieu de cela, le Premier ministre et ses ministres montrent qu'ils préfèrent les séances de photos et les voyages payés par le contribuable. The government promised to roll up its sleeves and get down to work for Canadians, but instead the Prime Minister and his ministers have demonstrated their preference for taxpayer-funded photo ops and globetrotting. The Liberals promised to champion the interests of the middle class. Instead, they've piled onerous new taxes onto hardworking Canadian families. The Liberals promised to be the most open and transparent government in Canadian history. Instead, they've held secret fundraisers where cash is traded for access. They won't tell us how much the carbon tax will cost, or as we like to call it now, the carbon tax cover-up. The Liberals haven't changed, my friends. In fact, they've actually become more brazen. Mais les lacunes des libéraux, aussi graves soient-elles, ne nous feront pas gagner les prochaines élections. Notre succès dépendra de la force de nos idées. Sur ces plans, mes amis, il n'y a pas de comparaison. But the Liberals' shortcomings, however considerable they may be, aren't going to win us the next election. Our success is ultimately going to depend on the strength of our ideas. But on this front, my friends, there is no comparison. Because we understand that, however unpleasant the prospect, terrorism is actually a real threat that must be confronted head-on. We understand that the soaring rhetoric on the international stage is actually meaningless unless you take concrete actions to back it up. We actually understand that coddling criminals doesn't make our streets safer. And we understand that government can't make better decisions for your family than you can. And we understand that no matter how hard it tries, a government cannot spend its way to prosperity. So friends, the Conservative Party of Canada will continue to be a united, effective opposition focused on ideas that make our country more prosperous, more secure, and more free. We'll continue to fight against the government's reckless agenda of uncontrolled spending and runaway deficits. We'll continue to fight for access to new markets for Canadian goods and to protect good Canadian jobs. We'll continue to fight against Liberal tax hikes and job-killing measures. We'll continue to fight for freedom of religion and freedom of speech. And we'll continue to fight for the most vulnerable and the most persecuted, not just here at home, but abroad. And we'll continue to fight for accountable, transparent government. We will continue to be the only voice of the taxpayer in the House of Commons, putting the interests of hardworking Canadians ahead of insiders and cronies. In closing, my friends, we will be the champions of hardworking, regular people across this country. And each and every one of you has a role to play in that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support for our party, for all of our members of Parliament that are working so hard across this country, for our staff, for our volunteers, for our grassroots members. This is an incredible movement that you should be so proud of, and I'm incredibly proud to be able to serve as the interim leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Thank you for having me here today, and have a great conference.